report yesterday. How close was she to not going, and how proud of you for the 30 minutes that she did go?
Yeah, I mean, that's I don't make those decisions, but it's going to be very hard to keep Samaya Nichols from playing. We kept her out of practice the last few days to nurse a little bit of an ankle, and but there was no question in her mind that she was going to play. And our medical staff, they do such a good job, and cleared her. So, very tough young lady that wants to be out there.
Talia Scott kind of goes off for Baylor in that second quarter, but then you kind of shut her down for the most part in the second half. What did you do defensively to do that in the second half?
Well, I mean, we made some adjustments. We just didn't guard the flat ball screen with the kind of urgency that you have to. I thought, she made, consecutive baskets, maybe 3 in a row. And that's just inexcusable. You got to credit her for making the shot, obviously, which we do, but we could have guarded that better. Did a better job in the second half, and then I think their veterans, Bugs and Fauntleroy, every time we'd kind of get back in it, Bugs would get a big offensive rebound, or I thought Bella made some really timely threes just to keep us at bay.
I can just ask a question. Coach, you called a lot of timeouts in that last minute. Can you just talk us kind of through that mindset that you were hoping to maybe close in on that gap?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, with the way that the net works in women's basketball, I mean, every point, every possession matters, and some of those obviously we're not going to make a 10-point shot, but I get paid to coach our team, every second of every game, and there was opportunities to work on things even despite the outcome.
What can you say you and your team learned from today's matchup?
Well, I mean, you're not going to win games on the road when you get out rebounded, by 6 and the turnover margin's 8. I mean, that's just, you can't overcome that possession battle. Thank you.
Coming out of the half, we wanted to just keep and extend our lead, so being aggressive. And then obviously Talia did really well in the first half, so they kind of boxed and won her, which we haven't seen a lot of. And I actually struggled with that a little bit. But Coach Nikki was helping me to find gaps and create 2-on-1s and stuff, so that's probably why I did good in that little spurt. So
It seems like, the first quarter and the third quarter, y'all kind of struggled shooting the ball. is there something that you need to work on in terms of fast starts in terms of starting the game and starting the second half, Bugs?
I just think it comes down to pace. I think maybe could have got a better shot, so maybe just waited a little more. Yeah, they were bad shots, but I think it just came down to hey, we have the lead, we can slow down just a tad and just get some movement and get the right shot.
Jen, I asked about your passing game all the time, but Bugs, you had 6 assists today. Was this one of your best passing games overall? And do you think the team, after the last couple games, took the kind of assist to turnover thing to heart?
Absolutely. We never won turnovers, and Coach Nikki hates turnovers. So we always take pride in turnovers, whether we have a lot or a little. But I guess I just found my teammates. They got open. I knew they would be open, so it was just a matter of, who's open, and I'm going to get them the ball, and they just hit their shots tonight. Yeah.
PG Bugs.
I'm channeling my inner Jana. Yeah.
I think overall you guys obviously played really well. That was a great game. Congratulations. I think one of the things that we had said just sitting there on the sideline, we're like, wow, they're playing, pretty hard. You see a lot of people fouling each other, How do you as players make sure that you don't, get that in your head? I'm pretty sure I was filming on the sideline. I watched someone just elbow you in the face, and it was several times. So, how do you keep your head up and not let that stuff catch on to you guys, and then also continue to perform as well?
It just comes down to poise. People are going to poke at us. So it comes down to poise. I mean, everybody's important on the team. So you can't lose your head and then you get ejected and then you can't play another game. So I think that's what we have each other for too. We know people are going at us. We talk to the refs like, hey, can you look at this? But it just comes down to matching physicality with being smart, but also knowing that, hey, you got to keep playing through it. But we have to lean on each other because it gets frustrating. It's never easy when people are fouling you and you're not getting those calls. So just leaning on each other is what helps us a lot.
Bugs, I know that earlier in the season maybe you weren't playing up to what you wanted to. Do you feel like, starting conference play, you're kind of back to what you expect from yourself?
I would say, yeah. I think it just had to take a deep breath. I think that was maybe my biggest thing, just getting all the jitters out essentially this year, last year. Even maybe jitters that I didn't know necessarily were there. But I think my teammates have helped me out a lot. They've given me a lot of confidence and encouraged me. And times when I have been down, they've always been there. They tell me don't turn down shots. I know my shot wasn't falling before, but now they're like, shoot it, even if you're not open, take a dribble. So I'd have to give a lot of credit to my teammates and coaches. They're like, keep confidence, we believe in you. But yeah, it feels good to just play free, and I think that we've reached a point in the season where it's like, you got to get out your feelings if you want to win. So some of that's that too. So I guess I got out my feelings and we got to roll it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Important. How good was that to see, especially after the last couple of games?
Well, I think, first of all, they're not a team that causes a lot of turnovers. So if you have turnovers, you're self-inflicting, I mean, I'm not saying they're not a good defensive team, but how they play, how they defend, they're not in the passing lane. They're not pressing. They're not, so they allow you to move the ball. And, I mean, we had fewer illegal screens, only 2. We still had 2. And we haven't faced a box and one a lot this season. So that was the whole third quarter, and a lot of the fourth was box and one. And so, I thought it was kind of amazing how we were able to build the lead, even though statistically we weren't necessarily shooting the ball or seeing where we were open and kind of trusting that the next action, the next pass. I've got to be better at coaching box and one and getting them to understand what they're seeing, because I think we could have even gotten better shots. I do think we took 4 or 5 shots that might as well have been turnovers, that we didn't need to take. So I think we got to grow in that area. But I thought a lot of really good things over the course of the game. I thought Jana's defense on Evans was really good. Got underneath her and just didn't let her be a factor. I mean, we let her loose a couple times, and I don't even think she was the one guarding her in those situations. And so still a lot of good things, but we got up 20. I thought we had a 3 or 4 minute stretch where we lost our minds, and we've got to be better at managing leads any more than it's a 5-point lead with 2 minutes to go. It's a 20-point lead with 9 minutes to go. Like we can start grinding the clock.
Whether it was the start of the first quarter or the start of the third quarter, kind of a rough shooting start to both. Is that a concerning trend, or is that as you get deeper into conference play?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, you never like when you don't make open shots. Bella got a couple open shots on the first possession. Talia just has struggled to make the 3. She obviously got just cooking when she went to the point, and we just went middle ball screen, and she got to her mid-range shot. I mean, that was an elite stretch. I don't know if it was 6 in a row, 8 points in a row, to where then they had to play zone, and we struggled at first against the zone, and then once we got the ball to the high post, that's why Bugs had 6 assists, because the ball went to the high post. Then she found people. Now we started to make some shots, and I care mainly about, are we getting the right shots? Like, if they don't go in, am I discouraged? Of course, a little bit. I mean, when you execute and you don't finish the possession, you don't love it. But I also think if we're running the right things and we're getting the right shots for the right people, I mean, during that first half, I thought Talia probably took a couple contested shots, but for the most part, I thought she was open from 3, and I just would never want her to turn them down. Like, I just think she's way too good a shooter. Like, you can't, I won't ever look at the last 3 games and decide that's who she is as a 3-point shooter. I know they've been a lot of misses, but, just wait till all of a sudden that's 8 for 13, because that's just as likely.
Hi, Coach. I have the next question. So when we spoke, I think it was last week, we spoke with KJ and another player, and I can't remember who, but they pretty much talked about how much Bella is a cornerstone of this team. Mm-hmm. And when Bella's on her game, everybody's kind of on their game. So obviously Bella is, I think, now ranked 5th in program history in 3-pointers. Can you talk a little bit about that and how Bella's going to continue to develop throughout the season and what you're expecting of her?
Yeah, I just think Bella is our point guard on D, and when Bella is locked in defensively and directing traffic, we're really hard to score on. She has the ability to guard point guards and 5s and everybody in between. And so, our ability, like in a game like today, for her to guard truly their 5, but then be in switches. So now she's switching on to Nichols, who's probably the matchup we liked the most, but we knew that if Bella was on her, they would screen her. So we wanted them to screen. Now, I thought Bugs did a really good job as well today on Nichols. But when you keep a body in front of her, it's a big difference than when she has you on her hip, it's over, because she's going to score or draw a foul or both. And so, I think for Bella, and it's hard because she doesn't want this to be the case, but it really doesn't matter how much Bella scores. And now, do we want her to score? I mean, she took 11 shots. She's been second on our team in total shots. Like, she's shooting, and when she makes it, it makes us that much better on offense. And now all of a sudden we get to 79 instead of 70. But Bella's greatest attribute for us is defensively, rebounding, quarterbacking, making sure people are matched up, making sure we're switching when we're supposed to switch, calling out stuff when she knows the action that they're in, and then I thought one of the plays of the game was her baseline drive and drift pass to Yu-Ting for her 1-3. So, I think it's making the little plays. Like, she has great value to us because she understands. She's as high an IQ kid as we have, and so her understanding what's there. I thought she had a couple of really good cuts against the box and 1, and we just didn't see her. Or she would have scored a couple more times on probably easier finishes.
You kind of heard me ask Bugs there at the end. Do you think she's more like Bugs that you expect at this point?
I mean, she maybe it was as simple as get out of your head. It's time. But I think most seniors, and every senior is slightly different. Like Jana sat out a whole year, so this is kind of like she's just so grateful to be back out there. So it's not your typical, like everyone shows up, and I say that in this world, this is probably a unique thing, but you blink and you're a senior. Like when those guys were freshmen and just, green around the edges and just trying to guard the Ashley Jones and the Maddie Williams and the, you name it. Like they went through the gauntlet as freshmen. And to all of a sudden you're a senior and you see yourself on draft boards and you feel this external pressure even when someone doesn't put it on you, because there's this sense of urgency. And we tell all our young players, like, hey, wait till you're a senior. You're going to want your young players to have the same sense of urgency that you do as a senior, but you really can't get them to feel that. They don't feel it until they feel it. And it's just good to see Bugs play with poise and not press and, take the shot when it's there and know that, it's like trying to tell her, like, you got on draft boards because of who you are, not because of something that you haven't shown. And it doesn't mean we don't want her to make threes, because I think, I wish people could see her in the gym because she makes threes, and the analytics don't show that. But her growth in that area has been significant. But still, when she has that rhythm dribble at 15 feet, like that's her kill zone. And when you can do that, I know Jalea Davis is just a freshman, a really, really good one. But that's an elite athlete. And for her to kind of like go to her fade game and score over her, it just shows she can score over almost anyone when she gets to bounce and balance. And, if you notice, she wasn't in when we went crazy. That stretch that she wasn't in was when we lost our minds and stopped guarding the three-point line and, just like kind of fell apart a little bit. And so, is she always going to be 7 for 7? Of course not. Is she always going to get 10 rebounds? Maybe not. She might only get 8, but she'll get 15 the next game and she'll average double-figure rebounds because that's what she does.
And then one more about the game. You had a pretty good day on the offensive glass and second half or second chance points. What was your strategy with KJ and Kyla and Kayla against kind of their bigs?
Yeah, I think some of that was just, it's two things. When you don't keep a body on a body, it makes it easier. So, because they were in zone, ultimately probably 25 minutes, whether it was the box and one or they were in the 2-3, you don't have rebound assignments. You do, but, everyone always says the biggest challenge of playing a zone is the offensive glass. And so I think that's where we got some of them and why we got some of them. But I also thought our pursuit was good, and sometimes we get our own. Kayla and KJ, I think we're missing their own me-bounds. So, but yeah, I thought once again, you look at our fives, and none of them had a few huge nights, but if you combine them, all of a sudden you've got 12 points and almost 10 rebounds. So it's, we're a little different that way. We don't have that one post player that averages double figures, but you combine them and they're pretty productive. I thought Kayla's 3 was big at a time we were struggling to see the ball go in from 3, and so, yeah. Yeah, someone said it, and then she was smart enough